guys, Brody Swisher here, and today we're going to answer the question, can you fall out of a tree saddle? Now, if you're not familiar with saddle hunting, the tree saddle concept, just do a quick Google search, look up YouTube, social media. You'll find bukus of information about this current trend that some might say is just a fad. It's just the latest thing. It's a fad among deer hunters and mobile hunters. But honestly, saddle hunting has been going on for decades. Guys have been hunting out of tree saddles for a long, long time. And while it is a current trend and while it has gained popularity in recent years, it's been going on for a long time. But a lot of guys in recent years, when they see this concept, when they see somebody trying a tree saddle, or maybe they're intrigued by it, one of the first questions I get is a guy saying, man, can't you fall out of that? That thing looks a little sketchy. I'm not gonna do that. That doesn't look safe. So we're gonna try that today. And as any loving father would, I'm gonna let my child go first and let him see, can you fall out of a tree saddle? All right, the saddles we're using today are from Tethered. Check them out at tetherednation.com. I've got mine. Easton's loaded up with his, cinched down tight to fit him well. And he's basically just going to go through the motions of a close encounter shot, leaning over, tipping over, all the things you might do and think, hey, I'm going to fall out of this thing, or can you fall out doing that particular move? And so he's going to kind of go through that again, that leaning over for a close encounter shot, and give you an idea, can you fall out of this saddle? Now, despite what some people might think, saddle hunting is a very, very comfortable style of hunting. So comfortable, you can even do it in a pair of Crocs. The saddle keeps you snug, it keeps you comfortable, and it's even almost a fun way of hunting. You're up there, you're swinging. If you're not careful, you'll start swinging so much, just having fun in the stand. Easton's going to demonstrate that close encounter shot. You got a deer right underneath you. That's when you're leaning too far and you think, man, this is where you're going to slide out of this saddle. This is where things could get ugly. But as you see, he's leaning over. He's safely tied in, anchored in. That saddle is holding him upright. Even if his feet were to slip off that platform, you're going to see he's still just hanging and dangling. He's not tipping over. He's not sliding out. He can easily find his feet back on that platform, slide back around, get his footing on the platform, and back up he goes. And so as you can see, even when you lose your footing, even if you were to lean over too far, you are safely tethered in and safely placed on the saddle. All right, you got to look at what it's like for a young lad to be in the saddle and get a feel for how he maneuvers, the fact that he did not tip over, he did not slip out or slide out. But what about when you put a 200 plus man in the saddle? We'll kind of go through some of those same motions. Again, the shot leaning over, but what about tipping over backwards? A lot of guys are like, man, I feel like I'm gonna fall back. I feel like I'm gonna fall out of that. But honestly, you can stay in this saddle. Even if you were to flip over backwards, feet up in the air, you're gonna be in this. A lot of guys will ride the tree. A lot of guys will lean back. But man, let me just give you a quick look. When you put your feet up in the air, you're still in there. Feet in the air, I'm upside down, hands dangling in that sucker, not coming out. Again, the way this saddle wraps around you and around your waist, you're not coming out of it. Now, a lot of guys ask the question, what happens if my feet were to come off? I just showed you when you lean back too far, or the fact that I can put my feet up in the air and be completely upside down. It's got me around the hips, safely anchored into the saddle. But what about just when you're leaning over to the side too far and your feet come off again? Same thing. You may slide around that tree, but again, it's going to bring you back. That tether's in line. It's going to bring you back in line where that tether rope's centered up on the tree. Same thing on this side of the tree. You lean out too far, maybe you think you are, and there, again, you're swinging and you're straddling the tree, but your feet back on the platform, back in place, good to go. Now, Easton already gave us a look at that downward shot. I'm gonna do the same. It's easier than ever in a saddle. I just drop into the tree, straddle the tree, and I can use my knees to kind of secure, shooting straight down. There's no shot that's too close. You can shoot that straight down shot, easier than ever with the saddle. Really slick, really simple. But again, what happens if you do lean out too far? What happens if you dump over? You sit there and you lean out too far. My feet are up in the air. Just gonna come back and find my place on that platform. Not losing my bow. Gonna get right back to the tree. Some folks might drop their bow. If you love your bow, you hang on to it. But as you saw, feet up, dangling, I'm safely and securely anchored in at the hips and waist with the saddle. So can you fall out of a tree saddle? Hey, I'm sure people have, I'm sure people will, but as far as we're concerned, we've yet to figure out how to make it happen. You're gonna have to try a lot harder than we did to slip and slide out of a tree saddle. It's just honestly one of the safest means of hunting for the mobile hunter, deer hunter, bow hunter. It's a really slick and simple way to get in and out of the tree, and I promise you, once you give it a try, you'll see just how safe it is and how efficient you become as a mobile hunter.